Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Okay, sir. Okay. Fine. Hello. Good morning, all. Are you able to hear me? Am I audible to all? If yes, just type yes in chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good morning, all. Today is the first session. I think we planned a session for you during the quarantine as we thought the project building or anything, any ideas which come into your mind should not be stopped. So recently, I and Vikas sir attended a workshop where we got some knowledge regarding this simulation software. So we thought we should make a knowledge sharing platform, and actually we should thank our principal sir and HOD sir for giving this opportunity to share our knowledge with you people. And today, I request our HOD sir to speak a few words, and after that, we'll start. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir,
Okay, Badri.
మీరు మాట్లాడండి సార్. You can talk.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, students. Good morning to everyone. I hope you are safe and you may be enjoying your quarantine. So, as you know, the situation is long, almost more than 1.5 months onwards. See, that is lockdown. All our activities stop. Um, and so we are going towards the online mode. Even in future also, we don't know how the situation is and the information whatever we are getting. Even in future classes also maybe online mode. So during this the quarantine period, to utilize this time really, lecturers Badri sir and Vikas sir came forward to conduct this workshop, online workshop. This is the first workshop we are conducting in our college. You already know this is a very useful workshop for the students to so for your mini projects and also mini projects and art forms. As you are aware about that simulation, the difference between whatever you are doing the simulation lab and lab, uh, these are working, and in these 3 days you are going to get idea how it is. In simulation only, in MATLAB Simulink, of course you are we all the class may be assembling your results, but like in meters, whenever you are conducting the laboratories, the virtual meters available here, and you can see the results how you are conducting physical labs. You can also see the same thing here also. So this is very good opportunity. Even in future also we may expect this kind of the laboratories and even workshops and even project works. So first of all, I congratulate all the students for coming forward to attend this workshop. And also I congratulate Badri sir and Vikas sir. They came forward to make this workshop possible. Um, so definitely we can hope this workshop is going to be benefited period. So I request Badri sir and Gupta sir to give you the same. All the best for right. You can start now. Hello.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your encouraging
Thank you
words.
for you people also.
Let me start. The schedule will be like
Okay.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Let me introduce you the schedule of the session today. Today, first session will be of around 30 to 40 minutes, where I will be explaining you about basics of Arduino and microcontroller. As you people are not aware of microcontroller, so I thought first I'll introduce you the basics of microcontroller and about the Arduino development board. Once you have the development board with you, then you can start working on it. So first session will be that, and the second session, Vikas sir will take over and he'll explain you about the Tinkercad software, which is an open source software, and he will tell you how to log in and how to use the Tinkercad software to get maximum output from the simulations. And as you all know, as this is a quarantine time, it is better to be home, stay home, and stay safe, and better work simulation and everything from home itself. Fine. Yeah. Today, let me start the session. I think before starting the session, can I have an answer? Am I audible to all clearly? If yes, just type yes in chat so that I'll know. Yeah, okay, fine. I got an answer as yes. Yeah, fine. Okay. So I'll start the session. Uh, yeah, is the slide visible to you? Yeah. Okay, fine. So this session is about introduction to Arduino development board. As you people are not totally aware of what is a microcontroller, so let me start the session with what is a microcontroller. So what is a microcontroller? Generally, as the name suggests, it's micro and a controller, right? So according to textbook explanation, microcontroller is a piece of device that executes certain set of instructions, right? So there is a lot of confusion between microcontroller, microprocessor, and a chip, right? IC. So IC's advanced, the next version is microcontroller. You can understand in a vague way, like IC will have some transistors uh, embed into it, like some transistors in the sense uh, you may have some hundreds or thousands of transistors in an IC. Whereas if you consider a general transistor, it will be of three terminals, which you have been studying in your electronics, right? It's of three terminals, emitter, base, collector. So imagine that three things are embedded in thousands of numbers in an IC. So that is an IC which you study as an op amp or some amplifier IC, where it is having some thousands in the order of transistors. But if you combine it in lakhs, that is a controller. If you combine it in billions, that is a processor or a controller. So the advanced technology is embedding millions and billions of those type of transistors or semiconductor devices into a single chip. Is single chip is nothing but your microcontroller or a microprocessor. So coming to microcontroller or microprocessor, let me make a point clear. If you come to microcontroller, you can observe all the gadgets which you have, like washing machine, maybe an automatic light, or maybe a remote control, maybe a TV, all may be having a microcontroller inside the gadget. But if you come to a microprocessor, if you want to understand directly what is a microprocessor, I can quote a direct example as your phone, your cell phone. Your cell phone will have an Android processor as well as a RAM externally connected, as well as a storage device or you can consider that as a flash memory, or you can also consider that as your HDD in your desktop, hard disk drive in your desktop. So it will have separate memory which is attached to a processor, as well as separate RAM which is attached to a processor, and external devices which are required, like input and output devices, are connected from external environment to the processor. Is that fine? So that is a processor, where if you consider the processor as your phone is having an Android processor, RAM, some internal storage, right? You can connect external memory, you can connect your LCD externally, you can connect your keypad. So whatever is the built-in outputs of your inputs and outputs of your phone, you can connect it externally to the processor, right? So the processor will process the instructions whatever you write. That is one thing, right? But when you come to a microcontroller, if you observe all these things, see, microcontroller is having everything on a same chip. So if you observe the direction is into the CPU, right? A microcontroller has a microprocessor, some peripherals like analog to digital converter, some oscillator, RAM, program memory or flash memory, everything will be embedded into the chip, into the same chip. Whereas if you consider processor by itself is not unique. You cannot use the processor separately. You have to connect external devices to interface with the processor, and you have to use that after you interface everything, input and output devices. But whereas if you come to a controller, for small applications or medium level applications where the processing computation is like a medium level, in that case you can use a microcontroller. Whereas the microcontroller will reduce the size. If you consider a phone, it is somewhat bigger, right? If you consider size of your like desktop, it is bigger, right? CPU is a bigger. But if you come to a microcontroller, if you place a CPU in your washing machine, it is not economical and it is not worth, right? So in place of that, if you place a microcontroller, everything will be small. You can place the whole thing into a smaller space and you can operate it, right? So that is the advantage of controller. And a microcontroller will have program memory less compared to processor. If you interface external memory with the processor, you'll have GBs and GBs of data as like your phone. But when you interface a program memory, or when you interface internally the memory for flash, that will be very less compared to the processor or your phone memory, right? So that is the one of the major difference. And you cannot say microprocessor is better or microcontroller is better. It is dependent on the application which we use. So coming to our microcontroller is a device that has a processor, memory and input output devices embed into a single chip, right? So that is nothing but your microcontroller's basic definition. Coming to processing capacity, when you write a code, microcontroller executes that code infinite times. That's it. The code may be in C language, or the code may be written in some mnemonic code, or the code can be written in some binary. Ultimately, it understands binary code, but whatever you write, that will be converted to binary and it will be given to a microcontroller. That microcontroller executes the code internally. Fine. That is the basic definition of a microcontroller. Fine. So that is microcontroller. Coming to our development board, Arduino, or whatever you call it, Arduino Uno development board, Arduino or Atmega, everything is same. But the difference is when you come to microcontroller is a small chip. You have to give some supply to it. You have to provide some external peripherals to it to operate, or else it cannot operate by itself, right? You have to provide some power supply to a controller. You have to provide some standard inputs to the microcontroller. to execute according to your wish. Whatever code you write, it has to be executed. If it has to be executed, it has to be provided with some clock. It has to be provided with some voltage or power. It has to be provided with some input output specifications, or else it cannot function. So if you want to make function a microcontroller, you have to provide certain input outputs. That input outputs are nothing but you are getting it as a development board platform. And coming to Arduino Uno microcontroller, Arduino Uno is a development board and it is having a microcontroller named Atmega. Atmega, if you want, you can observe here. It is Atmega 328, right? So it is having a microcontroller Atmega 328. And if you observe, the whole thing is a development board. The whole board which you see is a development board. But only this part is a controller. Only the part which you see here is a controller. So for this controller, you have to provide external accessories to make it function, or to execute your code inside the microcontroller, you have to provide external input outputs. I think this point is clear, right? So first I discussed what is a microcontroller and what is the difference between a microcontroller and a microprocessor. So after that, I told you what is a development board. Is that fine? Are you able to get, or shall I make the explanations too? If yes, type yes, I'll continue like this. Okay, fine. So coming to the Arduino development board, as I told you, it is having some code, right? So if you have to execute some code, you have to put the code into a microcontroller. That is the first point, right? The first thing is it is executing some instruction or it is executing some code. To execute that code, you have to write the code inside the processor or inside that microcontroller. You have to dump the code. So for dumping the code, all these accessories are used. Compared to other, there are many microcontrollers like 8051 is there. Basic microcontroller which you learn in your next semester, maybe in 3-2, where that controller should have some other accessories separately to embed the code. Whereas if you consider this USB, or if you consider this development board, this is having one USB power 5 volts, which is written, right? If you connect this to a PC, you can easily program this controller. You can easily program this Atmega 328. That is the reason Arduino Uno is much more popular compared to all other controllers, because you have an open source software, you have open source libraries, and you have easily programmable development board. So due to this, and this is a clone, there are two types. Original is there as well as clone is there. If you come to clone will cost you around 380 rupees if you go to a market and purchase it. But if you want original, it is around 1500 rupees. The difference is both function with the same level of application, like both can function at the same level. The difference is at some times, or after programming around 1000 times or 2000 times or 5000 times, the Arduino clone may fail, but your Arduino Uno original may not fail. So that is the advantage with original. That's it. For your project purpose or for all other purposes, you can use the clone. There is not at all a problem. Fine. So coming to this development board, you have one USB power, right? So this USB power can provide 5 volts supply to the board. This Arduino will work for 5 volts as well as 3.3 volts. But for 5 volts, it will give all the standard outputs. So if you connect an external USB, the output will give you 5 volts, which powers the board, as well as this USB power which is there can be utilized for dumping the code from system into this Arduino controller. This Arduino controller has to be embedded with some code. So to embed this with some code, you have to write the code in the system and you have to upload the code via this USB 2.0 terminal to this controller. Fine. So this is the first procedure. So in the development board, I'll make you get the knowledge of what are the pins. Like you have this ICSP. I'll tell you what is this ICSP. Because on the development board, you should know some specifications. That specifications I'll explain you and I'll end my session. Later on, sir will take over the class. Fine. So the thing is, this USB port will be used for programming the Arduino, as well as this will provide supply to the board. In case if you are not using this USB, like if you assume if you are not using this USB and you have placed this Arduino microcontroller on a robot, so how to power this Arduino controller in that case? In that case, you can use this DC power jack. Are you able to see this DC power jack? You can use this DC power jack to power this Arduino development board, so that if it is not connected in wired or in wired mode, you can power the Arduino controller and you can run the robot. Or if the Arduino is in some remote place, you can power it using a DC power jack, and the input can be from 7 to 12 volts. You can give the input voltage in between 7 to 12 volts. And are you able to see this 3.3 volts regulator? So as the whole controller functions at 3.3 volts, this regulator will bring down the voltage to 3.3 volts.
No points, no.
So after you power this board, this regulator will provide the whole power supply to the microcontroller. Fine. So these three things you got to know, right? ఎవరిదో అనోటేషన్ వస్తుంది కంటిన్యూస్ గా.
Mama, what do you want? Paisa pot.
Okay, fine. So you got to know three things, right? One is USB power, the other one is DC power jack, the other one is regulator. So these are the onboard peripherals, and reset button is there, which is used to reset the microcontroller. And the point is, when you reset this, the code inside the microcontroller will not get reset. It will be as it is. It will be refreshed. Like it is like a restart. When you restart your phone, you'll get a new screen, or you will get the whole phone to be refreshed, right? But your phone will function. After it restarts, your phone will function. Likewise, the reset button will refresh the whole controller. Like it will clean all the RAM portions, or if there is any junk inside, it will clean. If there is any hang condition inside the controller, it will refresh. So if you press reset button, it will refresh the whole Arduino microcontrollers RAM and ROM, internal functions or internal memories, except the flash programming or flash memory. And coming to input power supplies, all will have confusion. So we have power output 5V is there, 3.3V is there, as well as power in 9V battery. V in is there, ground pins are there, right? So if you want to understand these pins, first you should remove a confusion, like V in is different, 5V, 3.3V is different. When you connect in hardware, I see a lot of students who connect it, but they ultimately end by burning this whole controller. So the point you need to note is, here ground, V input is there. Ground is general ground, common ground for whole board. Fine, you can connect it to any part of the ground. Coming to V in, that V in power supply, which is there as a battery, that is nothing but input power supply to the Arduino. Is that point clear? That is the input power supply to the Arduino. So if you want to provide supply to Arduino, there are three ways in this board. The first way is USB power. The second way is your DC jack. The first way is USB power. The second way is DC power jack. Third way is power in, V in part, V in and ground. If you provide a battery, take a battery and directly connect a battery to this. So if you connect a battery to this, you can directly power this Arduino board. Fine. Is that thing fine? Clear? Okay. The next thing is ground 5V and 3.3 volts. So in this, ground is ground, 5V and 3.3V are outputs that we can take to power sensors. If a sensor is interfaced with an Arduino, in that case, you can consider this 5V as a positive for the sensor, and you can consider this ground as a ground for the output sensor. And you can take the ground as well as 5V connections. So after you take the ground and 5V connections, you can directly connect it to positive and negative of a sensor. And from that sensor, you can utilize or you can power up that sensor, and you can take the inputs from that sensor. So for that purpose, these 5V and ground is there. Fine. So you should be clear in these below points. Power out, power in. Power out is output power or output supply from the Arduino board to other sensors or other input devices. 3.3 and 5V. Power in is the input from a battery. Fine. So these are the output or input power resources, and ICSP is in circuit serial programming header. If you want to program external Atmega 328 controller. So if you see this Atmega 328, which is there on board, is an onboard microcontroller. But this ICSP header, which is there, is used for programming external microcontroller. This uses some protocol. That protocol is utilized to program other microcontrollers which you interface with the Arduino. Fine. So that is ICSP, in circuit serial programming header. And you have one onboard LED. LED connected to pin 13. And కనిపిస్తుందిగా. So this LED connected to pin 13 is onboard LED to test or to check whether your Arduino is working, or you can utilize this for some other applications where you want some LED blink or where you want some LED indications, output indications. In that case, you can use this pin 13 LED to get the output. Right? So this is about the basic resources that are provided to the Arduino. And the middle one which you are seeing is a steel cap, right? A steel cap is nothing but crystal frequency. As I told you, this executes the instructions, right? By itself, it cannot execute the instructions. It requires a clock to energize. So this clock will tell the processor to execute the instructions. So for that purpose, we have here 16 megahertz crystal. This is a crystal frequency. This may be having some quartz crystal inside, which will generate a frequency. That frequency is 16 megahertz for this Arduino microcontroller. The same frequency, you can utilize it for timing functions also. So when you use a timer in the Arduino for timing applications, we utilize the same clock frequency that is there from the 16 megahertz crystal frequency. Fine. So this is about your input output resources of the Arduino microcontroller. So coming to the next part, this next part is pins, input output pins. If you want to interact with external environment, you require the input output pins. So that the input output pins are named in two categories. First one is 6 analog pins. The second one is 14 digital pins. 0 to 13 pins are there. These are digital pins. 6 pins from A0 to A5 are there. These are analog pins. So digital pins are used for digital interfacing of external applications. Digital interfacing indicates what? They can give output as either 0 volts or 5 volts. They can provide only two stages, two levels. Either they can provide 0 volts or 5 volts. But if you come to analog pins, they can take an input in between 0 to 5 volts, or they can and then convert that output into a real time voltage. Analog input ante analog is nothing but it varies, right? So it varies from 0 to 5 volts. So it takes an input from 0 to 5 volts and it processes it to give as an output. Fine. So analog pins are used for analog input sensor applications. If you consider some analog sensors like light dependent resistor, which sir will show you. So that light dependent resistor will take an input and it will provide an output from 0 to 5 volts, which is an analog output from the sensor. That output from the sensor will be provided as an input to this A0 pin or A1 pin or A2 pin. It is having 6 channels. So the output from the sensor is provided as an input to the sensor in between 0 to 5 volts. That is nothing but your analog inputs, and these are 6 pins. Fine. Coming to digital pins, as I told you, digital pins can provide an output in between 0 volts or 5 volts. So either they can give only two outputs, logic 0 or logic 1. Logic volts will give you 5 volts. So if sensor is giving an output as a digital sensor, 0 to 13, so that you can take the input as a digital input. Like if you consider PIR sensor, passive infrared sensor. So that passive infrared sensor is utilized to detect human movement. In that case, the output is digital. Either it can give 0 or 1. So in that case, you can utilize that from 0 to 13 pins. You can utilize 0 to 13 pins. You can connect any output of that sensor to any one of the pin and you can take the inputs from the sensor. Fine. So digital pins are 14, analog pins are 6. Totally you have 20 pins. So in that 20 pins, are you able to see this pin number 11, 10, 9, pin number 6, 5, 3? Are you able to get the difference? 4 is not having a symbol, whereas 3, 5, 6, 9, 10 and 11 are having some different symbols, right? Are you able to see the symbols? That special symbol indicates those are PWM pins, pulse width modulation pins. Those pulse width modulation pins are used to get PWM outputs. If you want to get variable outputs in between 0 to 5 volts from Arduino, in that case, we utilize these pins, pin number 3, 5, 6, 9, 10 and 11. Most probably electrical people will utilize this PWM pins for running different types of power electronic converters. So when you use a MOSFET, in that case, you have to use this for pulse width modulation. Robotics. So when you want to run a motor, if you want to run a motor, you already know, right? E is directly proportional to K phi omega. So in that case, speed is directly proportional, right? So when you run a motor volts, it may rotate at some 300 rpm. But if you provide 2.5 volts, it will rotate at slowly. The robot to run in some slower speeds than its rated speed. In that case, you will make the voltage less. So you will provide voltage of 2.5 volts, or you will provide a voltage of 3 volts, 4 volts. So these special indication pins are nothing but PWM pins, where by now is it clear? Someone is saying voice is not clear. Now is it audible? So there are totally 6. Now is it clear? Yeah, okay, fine, yeah. So if you want to connect external pins or external sources to the Arduino, you need to understand whether sources are of analog or digital. According to analog digital inputs, you will provide digital input pins. If that case, you will provide analog pins for that sensor. Fine. You have 2 pins here, SCL and SDA. The to connect some external devices which work on certain protocols or certain rules. So you will understand sensors. In that case, you will have SCL and SDA pins in that sensor also. So if you want to use those memory or those special devices, memory devices will also have SCL and SDA pins. So in special devices, we consider this SCL and SDA. For normal interfacing or for normal projects, if you have switched on video, better you switch off if you are using some mobile. If you are using, you switch off, it's better. Video switch off cheste, you'll get clear. If you want, even I can switch off my video. Yeah, okay, fine. So this is about your Arduino development board. I started with what is a microcontroller. Then I told you what is the difference between a microprocessor and microcontroller. After that, I started explaining what is a development board. Then I told you all the development board resources of Arduino Uno. Those are, as I told you, USB power supply, DC power jack, power outputs and power inputs. We have a regulator, onboard regulator. We have one reset button and all other external resources like crystal oscillator. Fine. Now is it clear? Is the audio now clear?
Sir.
Okay. Break అవుతుందా వాయిస్? Okay, fine. So I discussed what are the external resources which are available on the development board. Then I explained you what are the input output pins of the development board. Input output pins are the ones which are important to interface external devices to the controller to control. Like if you want to control some LDR, a traffic light, in that case you will interface some LDR sensor. That LDR sensor output you should know whether the sensor is giving analog or digital. So if it is a digital output, you should connect the outputs to 0 to 13 and use this pin as input pin. If you are using analog output sensors, in that case, you have to connect the outputs from A0 to A5 and again write the code according to your wish and convert it to digital outputs for controlling. Fine. So these are the basic development board accessories which you need to know before going into the controller or before starting the experiment in the Arduino development board. So I think I'll stop here and I'll unmute. If you have any doubts, you can ask, or else you can type in chat if you have doubts. I'll for 2 to 3 minutes. If you want to explain me some other parts, again, you can type and tell, I can explain it. So I'll wait for five minutes so that I will know whether you got all the points or not. So let me know in the chat if you have any doubts. Okay, you want about SCL and SDA. SCL is serial clock input. SDA is serial data input. Like you have RTC, real-time clock. So that real-time clock is a clock functioning device. It will be having one chip where it keeps accounts about timing functions separately. In that chip, you will have SCL and SDA pins, serial clock and serial data pins. In that case, you have to connect SCL and SDA pins of that device to your controller, to your Arduino development board, so that it interacts with that device with some special rules or some special protocols. SCL, SDA ante adi I2C protocol kinda vastundi. I2C in the sense inter-integrated circuit protocol. So that inter-integrated circuit protocol will have some rules, set of rules. So it is actually a big topic, a separate protocol. That protocol will be utilized to interact with some special devices so that the interaction speed is much fast. Data transfer is much faster compared to normal pins. So in that case, it will be in the range of 100 kilobits per second, at max 400 bits, 400 kbps, or it is dependent. Chala versions vachai danvi. So SCL and SDA for you is like if you want to interface some I2C devices to this Arduino development board, in that case, we'll use SCL and SDA. Fine. And you have 0 and 1. Are you able to see this pin? I forgot to explain you about this pin. 0 and 1 కనిపిస్తున్న RX and TX. RX and TX. This RX and TX are serial communication pins. If you want to connect GPS, GSM, serial communication devices, in that case, you will use this RX and TX pin to communicate with serial communication devices like GSM, your SIM, or your GPS, whatever devices that has serial communication protocol like RX and TX pins. Even RFID will have RX and TX. So you will use this RX and TX pin to connect to serial communication devices and get the data from that or send the data to that device. If you want to send a message from GSM, in that case, you will connect RX and TX pins to the GSM module and you will send the data from the controller to that module to send an SMS, to send some mail, to send some data. So according to that serial programming device, we connect RX and TX and exchange the data between Arduino development board or Arduino microcontroller as well as the communication device. Fine. So that is RX and TX. So still any doubts? If you want in detail, you will get in detail explanation when I take MPMC class or when we have some hardware outputs. So if the college reopens, maybe you may have one more workshop related to robotics or something. In that case, I'll give you in detail explanation about all these things. You want about ICSP, ICSP and ARF. ARF is analog reference. Analog reference is useful for changing the analog data. I told you that A0 to A5 will have 0 to 5 volts, right? So some sensors will give only 3 volts, 3.3 volts. ARF pin will come handy for us. ARF pin will let us know or will change the operating voltage of that analog pins, analog reference pin, ARF and ICSP is in circuit serial programming header. And for your development board, you need not require ICSP. ICSP is used for programming external Arduinos or external controllers. So ICSP is in circuit serial programming header under. Header is nothing but it provides supply to other microcontrollers for programming. Analog pins are the pins that take input in between 0 to 5 volts or in 0 to 3.3 volts. If you want to provide variable output voltage, though it is DC will have variable output voltage. 0 to 5 volts variable ఉండొచ్చు DCలో 0 volts రావచ్చు, 1 volt రావచ్చు, 1.1 volt రావచ్చు, 3 volts రావచ్చు. So that inputs which are there with analog reference can be connected from A0 to A5. Digital pins will take or give only 0 to 5 volts, except some special pins, special PWM pins. Digital pins will take or give only 0 volts or 5 volts. They will not take in between volts. They will consider in between volts as some high state. So that sensors, the sensor related to digital sensors can be connected from 0 to 13. So logic 1, if you get volts, that is logic 0. Any other doubts? Okay, shall we move forward? So shall we go for simulation? Simulation will be somewhat interesting. If you go to simulation, if you get doubts, even you can ask in group. We have created groups for all the MTech, BTech, A section and B section, right? So you can, if you have any doubts, you can ask or you can ping in the group itself. And we'll now start simulation. So I'll ask Vikas sir to start the session. Voice is clear. If you can hear, you can put that. What about now? Someone remember 204 is trying to annotate. What about now? Is it clear? Hello. Is it clear now?
we had some kind of disturbance earlier, but I think I hope it's clear now. It's fine now. Unmute, right? Yes, sir, you are able to hear. Hello. Yeah, I didn't start. If you can hear, I can proceed. Okay. So I hope everyone are able to hear. So I'll just show the contents, like what are the things we'll be considering in this particular simulation. Uh, Basically, we are using Tinkercad to work with Arduino. Uh, it's just when I talk about Arduino or Tinkercad, we don't need knowledge which requires us to send rockets to the space. Hardly we require how we can just work with Arduino. What are the inputs we have? What are the pins we have? How I can make programming in Arduino? Because nowadays, if you see, even school children like fifth class, sixth class, they are working on this particular Arduino. So I don't think you really require very high skills to work with Arduino. Okay, with that hope, we'll try to get into Arduino. And one more objective uh, for conducting this particular workshop is we are basically waiting for students to come up with good projects with this knowledge because a lot of events are happening in entire India, world, etc. If you just see Anveshana, every year they conduct project competition. Okay, they basically call for project competitions and they ask you to submit proposals in the month of July or August. Okay. So every time what we see from our colleges, hardly we get two or three submissions for this particular project. But some colleges which are not of that much standard as GNITS, from those people we get lot of submissions. So we want to encourage our students also to come up with your ideas. For you, it may look like a very simple and silly project, but it may have some beautiful impact. Okay. So in future, if you have any such ideas, you can contact any one of us. Either you can contact your faculty or you can approach our department. We will make sure like you try to submit for such competition. Okay. So that is basic aim of this particular workshop, I can say. Okay. So in this particular thing, we will first see how I can get into the platform Tinkercad. Then we will give small description about LED. Then we talk about setting up Arduino in Tinkercad. Then we will see how LED can be interfaced with Arduino in Tinkercad. Then we will give small description about LDR. Then with LDR, we'll try to control LED. LDR basically stands for light depending resistance. So depending on this particular resistance, we'll try to control LED. Then we will look into something called potentiometer, and then we'll try to integrate pot and LED with Arduino. Then we'll look into concept of PWM. We'll try to interface PWM LED with Arduino. and we'll try to implement the concept of fading. Then we'll try to look into thing like how I can control speed of a particular motor by using PWM pins. Just sometime back, Badri sir has told PWM is very useful, especially for electrical people. Okay, so we can see how I can change number of rotations we have per minute with respect to this PWM, and maybe we'll go with an example of temperature monitoring, and we will also consider some home automation application. So whatever I'm describing here, these are not complete experiments of Arduino. We have a lot many things, but the main intention of this particular workshop is to give some overview of Tinkercad and Arduino, so that you can explore the facilities and features whatever we have in Tinkercad. That's what we are aiming for. So first we'll try to see how I can get into Tinkercad. So I just need to go to that particular link. We'll do manually. So so I am just typing Tinkercad. Hope you are able to see this particular screen. Okay, I'm just typing Tinkercad and entering into that particular site. Okay, as you can see here, we have something called as join now. Okay, for a particular user who already registered with Tinkercad, you can sign in, and if you are new user, you need to click this join now. Once you click join now, you are going to get these options. You can just click on create a personal account. You don't have to go to educator start here, students join a class. You can just go to create a personal account. From this point, you can actually sign up by using any of your mail IDs. Okay, I hope I'll just skip this particular part because I have already account in Tinkercad. I'll try to open that particular. So I'll try to open Tinkercad. Okay, I'm just skipping the part of signing in with your mail ID. Okay, I'm signing in with my mail ID. So you are going to get a screen like this. Okay, you can see Tinkercad, gallery, blog, learn, teach. Uh, Basically, we have several options here. You can come up with some 3D design. You can come up with code blocks. You can come up with lessons. But right now, what we are interested in is we want to design, or we want to come up with new circuits. So I'll click on circuits part. Okay, I'm clicking this circuit, and as soon as I click circuits, since I have made several circuits in that one, you are going to have all those things available here. But if you are a new user, you won't have any of these things. Whenever I wish to create new circuit, you need to click this create new circuit. Okay, I am clicking that. So whenever you wish to create a new circuit, you are going to get a platform like this. The beauty of this particular thing, Tinkercad, is we have several elements which we use for our circuits. For example, resistor. Okay, I can have any value of resistor, LED, I can have any colored LED, push button, potentiometer, okay, capacitor. I have a slide switch, I have 9-volt battery, I have kind cell, I have breadboard, Arduino. Okay, so many things which basically we use uh, in our circuit design, you can see here. So these are basic components. We don't these are not the only components which we have, but we have many other circuits. Just show general components like capacitor, diode I have, and inductor I have, then push button, slide switch, and you can see photoresistor here. Or I can also call this one as LDR. Okay, uh, you can see here I have a potentiometer here and photodiode. There may be many applications in which you may be interested in working with photodiode, ambient light sensor, IR sensor, ultrasonic. Okay, so many sensors we have, and similarly different kinds of LEDs you can see here, and then I have your DC motor, DC motor with encoder. Okay, and micro server I have, IR remote I have, piezo material, 7 segment display, LCD, batteries I have, different kinds of breadboard, Arduino board, and instruments like multimeter, power supply, function generator, oscilloscope, and we also have several integrated circuits. For example, you want to work with some 555 timer, I have that one. 741 up and you need to work with, I have that. So like that, many things are available in this particular Tinkercad. Uh, that is the reason this particular Tinkercad is very much useful if you want to work with the circuits and integrate those circuits with Arduino. Okay. So whenever we are creating a particular circuit, if you want to save that particular thing, you can just go to this particular place, double click this one. For example, I want to show how to connect LED with a battery. Okay, LED and 9 volts battery, 9-volt battery. Okay, that's the first experiment I want to do. Okay, and automatically it gets saved. And whenever you want to create new circuit, again you need to go back to this home button, Tinkercad, whatever logo you are able to see here. If I click here, again you will go to starting position. I'll just show that one. Okay, whenever I want to create new circuit again, I need to go there. You will get home screen. Just take time to move. Okay, so I got again the home page. You can see LED plus 9 volts. If I want to open this one, I need to click this one. But if I consider like I have done working with this particular circuit, I want to create new one. Again, I can go and click this create new circuit. Okay. For example, I want to edit this particular circuit. Just click this one. Again, it will open something like this. A window will come like this. If you want to edit and work with this particular circuit again, you need to click on this option, tinker this. Okay, I'm clicking that. This is about how you can open a circuit, new circuit, or an existing circuit, and how to name a particular circuit in Tinker. Now we'll try to see how I can actually uh, design my circuit. First thing, I'll try to work with LED because it has been procedure whether you go in C language or any other language. First experiment what we do is hello world message. If I consider any hardware labs, what we do is we'll try to blink an LED. Okay. So before blinking an LED with Arduino, let's try to see some basic functionalities of this LED. Okay, I'm just clicking and dragging that particular LED onto this particular place. If I just click this one, you can see if I want some name for this LED, I can give. If I want some color, also I can give for this particular thing. Okay, let us consider red color itself. Then what I need a battery to make it work. Okay, so I am taking a 9 volts battery. Okay, uh, for this LED, we need to know what are positive and negative points, right? So, are positive and negative pins. Just see here, I can just see LED something like this. Towards positive side, you are going to have curved shape, and towards negative side, you are going to have flat shape. That's how you can actually say which one is positive side, which one is negative side. Positive terminal we call as anode, and negative terminal we call it as cathode. Similarly, you can see here when I consider positive side, this particular edge. Okay, I'll try to show with a pointer. So, so for positive side, you are going to have this particular edge very small, and for negative side, you are going to have edge very large. That's the difference. When you keep that particular LED in front of you, by looking at these things, you should be able to clearly understand which is positive and which is negative. Okay. Then, if I consider again length also, positive terminal the length will be more, and negative terminal the length will be less. That is also another difference we need to consider for an LED. Okay, and also when I consider this particular symbol of LED also, we are going to represent a normal diode with two arrows upward, making it indicate like it is going to emit something or emit light. That's how we need to connect some LED. That's how we need to recognize the connections, positive and negative terminals of LED. And when I connect LED also, directly we should not connect with a battery. Okay, instead we need to connect with a resistor. And this also what we are doing, uh, you can see here this particular terminal is positive, right? So positive terminal I am trying to connect with positive terminal of my voltage. Negative terminal I am connecting with resistor, and that resistor is again connected back to negative terminal. And whatever the resistor we are using here, that resistor is called as limiting resistor. Sorry, current limiting resistor. So if I have this voltage or battery directly connected with LED, then LED will get damaged because it cannot accept currents higher than 20 milliamps. If my current which is flowing through this particular LED is greater than 20 milliamps, then this LED will get damaged. So LED requires uh, 2 volts minimum, and maximum current what it requires for proper functioning is 20 milliamps. So how to find what is the limiting current limiting resistance we have to use is, we can just write a KVL inside this particular loop. V equals to this particular LED requires 2 volts, so I am writing as 2, and the current flowing through the circuit is I, and the resistance value is R. So by using this one, if I solve for R, you are going to have whatever the input voltage I have applied, V minus the voltage across LED 2 divided by 20 milliamps. So for example, if I am using 4 volts, in such case my resistance value will be 4 minus 2 by 20 milliamps. So what will be my resistance value in that case? 100 ohms. Okay, so like that I need to consider some current limiting resistance. So practically we will try to see whether whatever I have said is correct or not. Let me this positive terminal I have to give for which one? Okay, I'll just try to connect in this particular manner. Okay, so this positive terminal I have to give to anode, and negative terminal I need to give to cathode. Okay, I have done my circuit. After that I just need to click on this start simulation. Okay, what happened, you can see here that LED has blown. That means it could not handle such a huge voltage, 9 volts, so it got damaged. Okay, now I'll try to replace 9 volts with some other voltage, and we'll see whether it works for that particular voltage or not. Okay, so if you want to remove this particular element, you just click on that element and click on this delete button. Okay, let me take this coin cell 3 volts battery and try to give positive. I am giving for anode, negative I am giving for cathode. Okay, and again I will start simulating. I have something. It's not completely damaged, but it's saying like current through LED is 61.9 milliamps, while the recommended maximum is 20 milliamps. Okay, so uh, for example, if a particular LED works for 1 year or 2 years, like that, if I consider, uh, if I give something like this, for example, if I am making more current pass through that particular LED, instead of working for 1 year, it works only for 6 months or maybe less than that. So that's what they are saying. The usable lifetime of LED may be reduced because we are passing more current through that particular LED. Okay, let me try by giving less uh, supply. Okay, I'll take 1.5 voltage. Okay, this is positive. I am connecting to positive. Negative, I am connecting to cathode. Now again I'll try to simulate. Okay, I have started simulating, but I cannot see that LED is glowing, right? Because this particular 1.5 volts is very less for this particular LED to glow. Okay, so I'll stop, and maybe for example for the same battery, if I have to increase the level, you can see here uh, I can increase the level. Okay, this is 3 volts now. Okay, if I start simulating, LED blown out because 3 volts continuously we give, so blown out. I'll try limiting this particular current through the LED. You can just respond in the chat box. If I am connecting 3 volts here, what should be my limiting resistance value? I'll just wait for your replies. By using the formula V minus 2 by 20 milliamps, what should be the resistance value? You can respond in chat box. What happened? You are not able to follow? Uh, Many people are saying 50 ohms, and someone are saying 20. Someone said 20. Okay, I need to change the resistance value, right? It's just like the same formula, whatever we have seen here. We'll use V minus 2 by 20 amps. V is 3, 3 minus 2 is 1, 1 by 20 milliamps. In such case, I will be getting 50 ohms. Okay, so let me change the value of this one. So I have 1 kilo ohm here, but I need to make it as ohm. Okay, and I am changing the value to 50. Okay, this is my resistance value, and even I can change the color of these wires also. I'll make this one as red to indicate that this is positive. Similarly, I can make this one black to indicate that it is ground or negative terminal. Okay, I have made my circuit. Now let's try simulating this one and see if it works properly. Okay, it's working properly, right? Okay, when we are working itself, we'll try changing the resistance value and we'll see what happens to the LED. Okay, so see here I am reducing the resistance from 50 to 5. Okay, immediately I got some information. It says like the current through LED is 81.5 milliamps. Okay, uh, 50, or maybe I'll go with 40, even though I can see here is still the particular current through LED is 22.1 milliamp. Maybe if I go with 45 also I have the same thing, but only for 50 I have proper functioning of LED. Again, if I increase something like 100, okay, you can see brightness of this LED has been reduced because the voltage across LED is also decreasing when I go for higher resistance. That's the reason we need to choose the value of resistance proper. Okay, so you need to remember this one. For example, when you are working with LEDs, don't think like whatever the amount of voltage we give for that particular LED it takes, it can take only 2 volts, and current through that one has to be limited to 20 milliamps. Only when you do like that, in that case, you are going to have that LED work properly till its lifetime. Okay, so I have done with uh, LED description part. Okay, then we will see next part, setting up Arduino. Okay, for this also you don't have to do very big task. Okay, I'll just remove this thing, so you can just respond in chat. Do you find any difficulty in this particular section till this particular part? You can type yes or no. Okay, it's very simple, right? Okay, so for example I want to come up with Arduino. You can just click here all. Okay, then I'll get all circuit block, all circuit elements whatever we have. So I need a breadboard. Okay, I can bring any breadboard. Okay, and I need Arduino also available here. But instead what I will do is, we have some customized circuit available in Arduino. Okay, just click Arduino. Directly you will see we have Arduino and breadboard connected already. Okay, you can just drag. By clicking this, I am trying to fit this particular board to whatever the screen I have. Okay, this one also I'll remove. Okay, this is what I have. Like this is my Arduino and this is breadboard. It's basically very important to connect these things in this particular manner. Okay, so for the breadboard, this particular line you try to consider as a plus. Similarly, this particular line you consider as plus. This particular line you consider ground. This particular line you consider ground, and short from this particular position to this particular position of your positive, and ground also you short. Because when I have these things available both at the top side and bottom side, when you design your circuit will not look clumsy, or your circuit will not look completely with wires. That's the reason we want you to design something like this. Okay, then we'll try to uh, bring some LED to work with blinking program. Okay, I can just go to basic again and bring a resistor and some LED. I hope you are clear with the terminology of how to connect in breadboard. It's like all these vertical lines are interconnected. These five vertical lines. Again, these five vertical lines are shorted, and horizontal. All these lines are shorted. That's what we have. Okay, basically this is cathode. Cathode we need to connect it to ground. Okay, so when I have this particular board here, this particular LED here, this particular point, whatever is highlighted with red, that I can click and connect to ground here. Okay, this is the reason. For example, if I had ground only available at the bottom side, from here I need to drag that particular wire till this point and I need to connect it to ground. But instead I also have ground terminal available above, so I have just dragged that particular wire and I am dropping here. By looking this one also, everyone can feel like it's not looking clumsy, right? Next I'll do like I'll take this particular LED and connect it to bottom of this particular LED. When I place this resistor here, automatically it got connected with this particular anode. Always remember, you cannot connect resistor something like this. If I connect like this, both terminals of resistor are short. Okay, I'm just taking that particular resistor and dropping here. Okay, and this end I need to connect to this one. Maybe I'll use fourth pin. Okay, and again when I use fourth pin, remember fourth pin is not PWM pin. Okay, PWM means you can change the intensity which you are giving to LED, but when I connect to fourth pin, this is not PWM pin, so it can output either a value of low or it can output a value of high. Only these two things are possible. Now I have made my circuit. Next thing is how I will do programming. Programming also very simple. You can just drag blocks and try to come up with your program. Okay, I'll also show that one. You click on code here. Okay, then you will get lot of things here. Basically some uh, already available code is available here. I don't want that one, so what I will do is I'll just drag. I just want to delete that one, so you can just click on that one and drag, and you can see dustbin at the bottom, right? So you just need to drag that one till that particular point where you can see on the hand symbol you have red color cross mark. If I drop there, automatically it gets deleted. So basically for this LED we need to give some output so that it glows, right? So I need to click on this output. So in blocks you can see I have several options. In output I have set built-in LED to high. Built-in LED means the 13th pin what sir has said earlier. We have some LED built-in on Arduino board. If you want to make that one high or low, you can use this particular block. You just need to drag and drop here. Okay, but if I want to work with any other thing, for example normal digital pin, if you want, you need to drag this one, set corresponding pin to high or low. But if you want to work with PWM pins, then you need to drag this one, and you can see here 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. These are the PWM pins, and these are normal digital pins. Okay, normal digital pins are also including PWM pins, but when I consider PWM pins, we are having only PWM pins here. Okay, that's the difference. This also I don't require at this point. Okay, and what I want to make for this particular LED, I want to make it high. And what is the pin to which I have connected to? Fourth pin. So I am selecting 4. Okay, set pin 4 to high. I don't want to make any other thing. I just want to make that particular fourth pin high. Okay, so I have written code. Writing code is just dragging and dropping there. Okay, I am closing this. Start simulation. Let's see if it glows. See, it's glowing, but the intensity is very less. Let me see what is the resistance value of this. The resistance is 1 kilo ohm. That is the reason it's not glowing properly. Let me give some 100 ohm. This also you can do, like what is the correct resistance value to be used. How you need to identify is you need to just uh, bring some multimeter. Okay, just bring this multimeter and try to see what is the voltage which we are getting at this particular fourth pin. Okay, I'll try to measure that one. So I'm just connecting positive to the positive terminal, and negative I am trying to connect to ground. Okay, let me see what voltage we will get across these two terminals. So you can see we are getting 4.02 volts. Okay, so 4.02 means what will be the resistance value which I have to use? 4 minus 2 by 20. So it will be 2 by 20, approximately 100 ohms I have to use. That's the reason I have used 100 ohms here. Let me try changing this value. See, I have changed it to 10 ohms. Immediately I got some information on this particular LED. That means I am passing more amount of current through that particular LED. Okay, so that's how you can just check what is the appropriate resistance value which I have to use for this one. Okay, so that's just blinking an LED. We'll stop simulation and we will see whether if we can switch on and switch off this particular LED with some delay. Okay, so output, we have many things here, like setting an input high or low, setting an input to some value, rotate servo meter which is available on a specific pin, high or low, playing a speaker on a particular pin, turn off speaker, printing something like printing hello world, set RGB LED. Okay, similarly input also, for example, you are reading some input value from sensor. If you are reading from digital pin, you need to use this. If you are reading from analog pin, you need to use this. Like that, we have several options. We will also come back to these things. This is just some introduction. Control, for example, you want to wait. In this case I want to wait, right? So I'll drag and drop here. I want to wait 1 second, make that particular pin high, wait for some time. Okay, if you want to repeat something, if you want to do some comparison mathematical operation, then if you want to create some new variable, okay, all options we have. If you want to write comments, you can go to notation. Okay, okay, then I want to duplicate this particular thing. You can click duplicate. I got this. Okay, so in both cases, like you can also change the time here. You can keep seconds or milliseconds. Let me keep second itself, and you can also change this wait time. You can keep 2. Okay, it will switch on and it will wait for 2 seconds. Then it will off for 1 second. I need to change it to low further. Okay, so let me see whether it does whatever we are thinking or not. Okay, it is on. You can see simulation time here. 1 second completed, 2 seconds. After 2 seconds it was off, 3 seconds it got turned on. Okay, we can also change that particular duration. Okay, you can see it's turning on turning off. Okay, is it clear? You can just respond. So it's already 12:10. You want us to stop at this point and continue tomorrow? Okay, we'll stop this particular part here, and tomorrow we will show, like basically in simulation we are doing like this, right? Maybe you will have a doubt, like how I need to generate code for this one and how I need to dump into Arduino. For that also you don't have to do anything. Whatever the steps I have done, by that code will be generated automatically. I just need to copy and paste that particular code in my Arduino environment. Okay, we have like how you are using C language, some particular editor you will be using, right? Similarly for Arduino also we have something called as Arduino IDE, Integrated Digital Environment. In that one you will just copy this particular code and you can work with Arduino. Okay, so we'll stop here. If you have any doubts you can just post in chat.
If you have any doubts, you can directly post in the group, or else you can practice the sessions afternoon if you have laptops. I think it will not be opened in phone. Try with mobile phone. If you get, it's fine and good. But if you are not getting this thing in the phone, you have to check for laptop. Right? And hope everything is fine for today. And if you have any doubts, you can ping it in WhatsApp group directly, so that we can directly we can process your request, or whatever doubts you have, we can directly clear your doubts. Hope so the session was informative. Fine. I think this will be new, as you are new to microcontroller. Now, some of you have, I think, already used Arduino. I know some of the people who have used Arduino from your section, but uh, if it's from simulation, that is much more better. And sir will show you how to get the code directly without writing anything. So that will also be good. So from tomorrow's session, you will have sensor interfacing and all the new things. Fine. So if you have time, work it out, and you will have quiz. Better on the last day, you'll have quiz. So you better write some important points, whatever is told by sir. Like sir told some important points during the session, right? So how to calculate resistance, how to calculate all these things, you better write. Fine. Yeah. Okay. Shall we close the session for today? If we get yes, we'll end the meeting.
You can just respond in chat.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fine. We got lots of yes. All are hungry. It seems okay. We even understand we are hungry. Okay. Okay then. Okay. Bye.
Session.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Bye.